Hello and welcome everybody. Thank you so much for joining us for a brand new episode of A New Go of New Home Sales. I'm your host, Anya Chrysanthon, and joining me today is Brook Jennings. Brook is the owner of Elevate Actually. So welcome to the show, Brook. I'm so very excited to have our conversation today.
Thank you so much. I was so grateful that you asked. I'm honored to be here.
Well, same. I see you all over social media. I think you do such a fabulous job promoting your services. But for listeners who may not know who you are, let's dive in and start off with your life story. So tell us, how did you get to where you are and what is it that you do now?
Yeah, so I am from a really small town in Tennessee. It's called Gordonsville. There is not even a Walmart in Gordonsville, just to give you an idea. So, very small town. I went to college at Cumberland University in Lebanon, Tennessee, also a very small town. And while in college, I worked as a leasing consultant for an apartment community. And I just so happened to lease an apartment to someone who worked for a home builder. And she said, "Oh my goodness, you have a great personality. We are hiring sales assistants. You should apply." I was 3 months from graduating college, my degree's in psychology, and I had three jobs at the time. I've always been a little bit of a hustler. And I thought, oh my goodness, I don't know if I could take on anything else. But then I thought, let's just go see what this is about. I got hired as a sales assistant and I fell head over heels in love with the new home industry. I worked for that builder for 10 years and then became a sales trainer, which is what I'm doing now.
Amazing. So obviously there's no shortage of sales trainers in this industry, which we could use more. There's so many different builders that still need sales training that when they're people starting, it's kind of like, here's the keys and good luck, right? So talk to me about who is your ideal client? Like what makes you different from all the other trainers in our industry?
Yeah, I think the biggest difference for me, and this is based on feedback I hear a lot, is that I am not so far removed from the sales role that I'm no longer relatable, which when I was working for a builder, I went through so many different trainers and they gave so many good pieces of advice and information. A lot of it was theory that sounded really good, but then once they left and things didn't work out perfectly, I didn't know what to do with that because in a training world, you're taught, here's how it's going to go. You're taught this perfect training scenario, and then that's it. You're not given the second play of, well, what happens when the customer says no to the next step? What happens when they say no to the step? Where do we go from there? And so, one thing I am so cautious and make sure I really get across to people is I'm helping them uncover multiple ways. When you get a yes, here's what we're going to do next. When it's a maybe, here's what we're going to do next. When you get a no, here's what to do. So I give you the real life, real world. Let's train for this perfect scenario, but then also let's train for this real world. Here's probably what's going to happen. And the reason I know that is because I still to this day step into that sales role when I go in person. And I know a lot of trainers, they'll role play, but they always have the salespeople be the salesperson. Whereas I will come in and I will actually model the behavior for you. So tell me no, and then I'm going to show you what to do. Be a hard customer, and I'm going to show you how to overcome those objections. And I think the last thing I'll say, and we can talk more about it, is one thing I teach my clients is the first part of the sales process is preparation. And a huge part of preparation is to know who your competition is and what you do better. So as soon as I launched Elevate, actually, I went on thriftedbooks.com. I bought every book written by anyone I perceive as competition. And your competition is anyone you win sales from or lose sales to. And I started reading these books. I'm talking 20, 30-year-old books. For 45 days, I did nothing but consume. I wanted to know what they're teaching, what do they believe in. And I was surprised to find that it's all the same. I was like, oh, wow, there were things that one person says present day that I thought came from them. And it's like, oh, no, it came from this person a really long time ago. And so I tried to really step in and bring original thought and original training that's for today's buyer, not the buyer of 40 years ago.
Love that. Now, when I saw your reverse role play, I was like, wow, that's ballsy because you got to feel really freaking comfortable and
Yeah.
confident that you're not going to fall on your face and be like, oh, I don't know how to overcome that objection. So,
Yeah,
I
well, that's
mean,
what a leader said to me. She was like, "That is really high stakes for you because what if it goes poorly?" And that's truly is how confident I am and my belief in these strategies to work.
that's amazing. So, Brooke, what are some of the most common objections that you're hearing from salespeople right now? Like you're going out there, I see you every single week, you're flying around the country talking to all the salespeople. Like, what's the biggest objection that they're hearing from their customers right now? And how would you overcome that objection?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing right now is price objections because for the past year, everyone's been playing let's make a deal. And so as a salesperson, and our leadership has a little bit of a hand in this as well because they're telling salespeople, bring me any offer, like just bring me an offer, like we just need sales. And so salespeople are saying things like, once they get a pricing objection, well, we can ask, or I'll, find out, or well, what price are you thinking? Like, what's it going to take? And it's completely the wrong approach. And so, one thing I've been coaching on a lot is how we add value from the very beginning. How let's not even go into price until we've built enough value on, well, one, I have enough leverage. I've uncovered what this person's problem is. Because a huge part of sales, I'm trying to figure out, okay, what is it that's the trigger that's even caused them to drive to see me today? And so I'm looking for that leverage. And then as a salesperson, you have to believe your home is worth what you're asking because that belief is transferable. And so it's a lot about how I've built value. And then once the objection comes, it's not just saying, well, let me ask or let me find out. It's uncovering where that number comes from. And I have some things that I train people to say, well, help me understand what is it that has you feeling like our home isn't worth what we're asking? Or based on our research, we are price fair to the market. Have you seen anything suggesting otherwise? And then you can solve any objection through prioritization. So it's just helping your customer prioritize. And you can say, what's the priority for you? Is it having the lowest price or is it having higher quality? The reality is you're never going to get both. And most salespeople aren't trained to do that because one, they've been trained that, hey, you got to buy or traffic's low. We got to do everything we can. But in every conversation, one person is being influenced and another is doing the influencing. And the person who's going to do the influencing is the person who speaks with the most conviction. And so, as a sales profession, are you speaking with conviction because you believe that your homes are worth what you're asking? And then from there, are you helping that buyer see that? Because we're in this industry, it's common knowledge for us. Like, we know the deal. That buyer doesn't. We have to help them understand and see our perspective. And I tell all salespeople that one of your biggest roles is you are the protector of builder perception. You are the protector of the perception of your builder. And so when you immediately start trying to discount or negotiate, people start to see your builder as less valuable. Whereas when you stand firm, the perception in that buyer's mind increases and thinks your home are worth what you're asking. And we're not taught those things, but that's a huge one.
Yeah, and especially right now, it makes sense that price is still an objection just because affordability is at an all-time low right now. But it's interesting is that there's a price parity seems to be right now with new homes and used homes. So if they're saying no to you, like where are they finding a better deal? They're probably not finding a better deal, especially in a resale market. It may actually be higher price for an older home, which is
Yes.
bonkers.
Yes. That is such a good point that you bring up that every salesperson should have in the back of their mind is knowing what is this person's alternative? If they're not buying this home with me today, what is their alternative options? And then back to preparation that if you're working with me, you've already been trained on, you know your competition, right? If resale's your competition, you know what's on the market, you know what they're priced at, you know what value you hold over them. And so when you ask and say, okay, well, what's the alternative for you? And they say, well, we were also considering XYZ. Now you have questions in your reservoir that you can ask because you've already done your research. You know about that home. You know how long it's been built. You know what upgrades it probably needs. You know there's not a warranty. And so now you can ask questions, because that's how we influence, is through questions, to help that buyer open their mind and realize, okay, yeah, this is actually the home I want, that home being you.
Yeah. So besides the price objection, what else are you hearing from the salespeople? I'm curious about traffic. Are they seeing more traffic, less traffic? I mean, in addition to economy being what it is, we're also up against some of the technology changes with AI search and the way people are finding our homes. So we're hearing a lot of home builders in general seeing drop off to people visiting them because they may not even be finding their website any longer with the way people now search. So, what are you hearing as far as traffic and how, I guess, how ready are people when they come into the door? Are they still, it sounds like they're still on the edge, or do you feel like builders are doing a better job of preparing them for that next step once they walk through the door?
Yeah, I think geographics have a lot of to do with traffic, because geographically I see vastly different range in the amount of people coming in and also price point. But I think the biggest thing I ask when traffic is low is, what are we doing to increase traffic? And a lot of times, from a salesperson's perspective, because that's usually the people I'm trying to motivate here, I hear things like, well, the online team or the marketing team. And, I don't know about you, but I don't want my income to be dependent upon anybody else. And so I've really tried to get across to salespeople and create some self awareness truly of how powerful they are, to get out into their communities, volunteer, join the Chamber of Commerce, become a person of interest, someone that has facial recognition within your area, because a lot of times you simply want to be remembered in the sense of, when someone has a cousin, uncle, sister, brother, friend at some point who mentions wanting a new home, you are top of mind. And so it's staying top of mind. It's, what strategies are you doing and how are you implementing the contacts you have in your CRM to get people to come back out? One thing I think is so important is, there's three things we can control. Only three. The first is your mindset. The second are your actions. And the third are your efforts. And so if you're not getting the result that you want, meaning your traffic is lower, one, how is your mindset, right? Two, what are the actions that you are doing to increase traffic? And then how much effort are you putting into the action? Here's an example. So I was talking to the salesperson, and he said, I have been taking lunch every other week to this team, and I have not gotten a single referral from it. Okay, well, let's look at the effort scale. That's high effort. If you're consistent every single week, you're taking this team lunch, that's really high effort. So now I'm thinking, okay, is it the right action? So I said, who are you taking this lunch to? And it was a team of lenders, which, as a new home sales professional, maybe I should do that with a team of realtors. And so everything has to be looked at through that scope, because a lot of sales professionals will do something to check the box. It's like, okay, my sales manager said I have to call 20 people today, so let me check the box to call 20 people. Well, what's the effort there? What's your strategy? What are you saying when they answer? Because a huge part of it is, you can't sound like every other salesperson in the world. You have to be different. You have to catch them off guard, because most people have a pre rehearsed response for most of the quote unquote standard things that sales professionals say. And then the second thing is, what are you leaving on a voicemail? Well, if I'm going to leave a voicemail, or depending on my buyer demographic, maybe I don't leave a voicemail. Maybe I leave a voice note instead. And so it's, what are you saying? And so all those things I train on to help. Traffic is definitely down, but I try to help shift people's perspective to the fact that the market is you and the person in front of you. And it only takes one prospect to make a sale. So I tell a lot of people, don't get so caught up in conversion rate, because I think that can discourage you, where you could be like, okay, that's my fourth person, so this next one, I'm going to be able to convert. But look at it as, hey, I have this person in front of me, and my goal at the end of the day is, I want their decision, the yes, the no, or the not yet. If it's a yes, I'm going to do the contract right then. I think that's also a problem. We just send things out into the world, and then people ghost us, because nothing kills joy like a legal document. If it's a not yet, I'm going to set the next step for this person. I'm going to tell them what that next step is, because again, I know my milestones, they don't. And then the last thing, if it's a no, that's amazing. That's beautiful. Now I can get the data. and give my buy or my builder, my leader, the data so now they can make good decisions. So I can say, hey, my goal was to help you make a decision and it sounds like you've made it. As a builder, we are always looking for feedback. Is there anything you could give me as to what has you deciding we are not the one? And now my builder's not going to make hundreds of thousands of dollars of decisions based on assumption, but now it's based on actual data that they've gotten from the field. So it's like, yes, traffic is down. Yes, there are things we can do about it that we're not doing about it. I think that's the great news. And then also, you just need one person. The market is you and the person in front of you.
I love that. And I love that you believe that salespeople are responsible for their own traffic. When I used to work at Ryan Homes, we got some traffic from marketing people back then, but most of it was my responsibility. I had to generate my own traffic. So I think it's an excellent, excellent mindset to go into the sales position because it really gives you ownership of the process, right? You're not relying on somebody else, like you said. And I've always taken the mindset of I am the mayor of my town, of my community. So I would love to hear, let's say somebody's like, okay, I'm struggling with traffic. I really need to generate more traffic. What are three easy things that somebody can do to get themselves out there? Now, you already mentioned like getting out there, maybe having lunch with people, right? Like
Yes.
maybe going to like a local coffee shop instead of packing your lunch. That could be a really great example, right? You drop off your card, you introduce yourself, spark a conversation, whatever it may be. So, if you're a salesperson right now struggling, what would be like three low-hanging fruit type of things that you'd be like, okay, you need to be doing these three things every
Yes.
week?
Yes. Oh my gosh, I love this question. And I could talk for an hour on this, but I'm not going to. So, the first thing you need to do is you need to ask yourself, okay, how can I make this work? A lot of times we're asking ourselves, oh, why is this happening? So, think to yourself, okay, how can I make this work? Now, let's get into the actual three tactical things. Depending on your builder, if they allow you to do social media, I would pick one day a week and I would go live. Go live on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, whatever makes sense based on the age of your buyer demographic. And you're going to give a tour of that home and you're going to say, whoever can guess the correct square footage, I will send a $25 gift card. People love this. It induces almost the same feeling as gambling because people can guess as many times as they want. Don't say the floor plan though, because people will get really creative and start looking it up on the website, which, hey, website traffic. But do start with your model. And then if you have a lot of standing inventory, go do it to inventory and do it consistently. Make it a weekly series that people can tune into, they get really excited about. I did this on accident. I was in my model home. It was raining. It was 3 days before the end of the month, and I needed one sale. So I thought, okay, no one is coming to me, so I'm going to go to them. So I went live. This was like 2016, 17. It was right as soon as live was even created on Facebook. And it blew up. That first day I had 2,000 views, like 126 comments. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is cool. And then people were like, we want more. And so then I started doing spec homes that people could actually buy, and realtors started sending those to clients, and it was just truly incredible. So social media is huge. Anya, the amount of salespeople I meet who do not do social media or even have listed, if your company doesn't let you do social media, that's fine. They don't even have their job listed in their bio. And
No,
how can you expect someone to come to you if they have no idea or have no awareness around what it is that you do? So I think that
that's
is,
so crazy to me. So I remember specifically when I was a sales agent, people used to tell me that they love watching my Instagram and my Facebook because it was like watching HDTV essentially. I would
love
take them on a
that.
tour of the house with me, and it would be beautiful models, beautiful homes. Like people love that. So think about like binge-worthy television stuff. Like you can create that with your phone,
You
and
can.
it doesn't take much. And even if you don't feel comfortable being on camera yourself, you don't have to show your face. That's the whole beauty of showing your construction. Show your
Yes,
beautiful model.
that's exactly right. And people get so scared of like, oh, I hate myself on camera. I promise no one is looking at you the way you're looking at you. Like we are so hard on ourselves. No one else is that critical of you. So social media, definitely number one. This second thing, lock in for this. So I want you in your community, I want you to identify all of the local businesses. Not the chains, the local businesses. If there's not many locals, then fine, use the chains. And what you are going to do is you have to remember that people only want a connection with you if it benefits them. So you have to start that way. It's all about what's in it for them. So you're going to go to these local business and you're going to say, "Hi, I am Brooke over at XYZ Community, and I have people moving here from all over. So I've decided to put together a welcome packet because I love celebrating and supporting local businesses. So everyone who moves in is going to get this packet. Do you have a flyer or anything you would like to put in here?" So now you're showing them what's in it for them. Oh, this person is going to bring me business. Of course. Oh, or they'll say, "I don't have one right now, but I'm going to create one. Can you come back next week?" You're going to do this like every other week. You're going to go to these local businesses to fill up your welcome packet. You are actually going to give out these welcome packets. They're awesome. But what's also happening is I'm making a deposit into these people and eventually I can make a withdrawal. And so I'm consistently creating these welcome packets. And then I can eventually say, "Hey, I have an inventory sheet. Do you mind if I kind of tack it on your little foyer in here?" So when people are waiting to be sat, they can see it. I had a salesperson who did this so consistently and built such a relationship with the owner of this pizza place. He started putting her inventory flyer on all of his pizza boxes when they gave out people who got to go pizza. It went on every single box. Here in Florida, where I live, there is a nail salon that on one of their TVs they have the model home tour because a salesperson kept going in there so consistently and eventually just asked of, "Hey, you have 6 TVs in here. People love looking at homes. Would you care if I created something that you could just have playing on this TV? And I'll recommend this nail salon to all the ladies moving in." And they said, "Absolutely."
How genius.
I know, ask. If you don't ask, it's not gonna happen, and I think we all have a fear of embarrassment, but do not be embarrassed. One, people get fulfillment for helping others, and so you're giving them an opportunity to be fulfilled, and you're also giving yourself a really cool opportunity. So that's the
Yeah.
second thing, and that's just do it today, literally, do it
I
today.
love that. I love that one. So I've heard some people take it a step further. And again, this is like extra, extra. So I would say what Brooke is saying, like that's excellent. But you could also potentially create like your own TV show in a way to feature the local, right? Like so you can do quick, it could be just photography, right? If you're not comfortable being on camera, you can just take photos of the outside of the business, maybe a picture of the owner, and then you can interview them for like quick second of like, how did you start this business? Like, what does it mean to you? Yada, yada. And then you include that in your Facebook group for your community and promote that or on camera interview if you're really feeling adventurous there.
Yes, and think about all the videos that go viral on TikTok. And I think I heard the other day that TikTok and YouTube were now the most used search engines.
Yes.
And so how cool if you make a video like that, but you have the business name and your community name and your builder name. So if people go to the search engine and search those things, boom, that video pops up. So
Yep.
I absolutely love that. The third thing I would do is seek out networking opportunities. I loved the Chamber of Commerce. I loved being able to volunteer and be a part of an association. I am part of a builder association here in Florida, and the relationships I've made, the opportunities I've been given because of those relationships, that facial recognition is everything, and being top of mind for people. And I think, another thing to go along with networking is I want you every day to touch 5 people, not to ask for anything. Just say, "Hey, I was thinking about you. I hope you're having a great day." Maybe it's someone you sold a home to 6 months ago, a year ago, like they've been closed. Just letting people know and making people feel remembered because then in turn they'll remember you. So again, if anyone they know ever says, "Oh, I'm thinking about buying a new home," you are top of mind. It's recognizing that everyone is either a customer or a connector. They are either someone I'm going to sell a home to, or they are someone who could potentially connect me to someone that I could sell a new home to.
Love that. Now, I know when people think networking, sometimes they're like, ooh, but I don't feel comfortable. I don't. So it seems like you're very outgoing. Any advice for networking tips? Or just somebody who maybe is a little bit of an introvert and doesn't feel comfortable?
Yes. If you're uncomfortable, just know everyone else is as well. I, I am very extroverted, but when I go somewhere that I don't know anyone, I'm a little nervous inside as well. And so I just try to tell myself that This is exciting. This is going to be fun. And remembering it's not about you, it's about them. And we live in a world where everyone is so focused on self. Most people aren't even asked questions anymore. And because we just want to share to make ourselves seem important. We want to share what we're doing or what we've got going on. But I just started going to quite a few networking events here in Florida, and I just find someone and I say, I'm so and so, and you are. It's so great to meet you. So tell me your story. How long have you been in real estate? Or how long have you lived in Florida? Because that's where I live. And people light up. And it's because no one has probably asked them a question about themselves because we're all too busy talking about ourselves. And there's a really good book by Amy Cuddy called Presence. If you don't want to read the book, just go to YouTube and search Amy Cuddy TED Talk. And she has one of the most watched TED Talks. And one thing she teaches, and her big thing is, you don't have to fake it until you make it, simply fake it until you become it. So if you want to be comfortable at networking events, act like you're comfortable. If you wish you were confident, just fake confidence because your body can change your mind. And so if I just walk in and feel really warm and joyful and happy to be there, people are drawn to that. They gravitate towards that. No growth happens in your comfort zone. So get out of your comfort zone. Know that you are worthy to be there. And you won't be nervous or uncomfortable if you take the focus off of you and realize, hey, this isn't about me. I want to hear these people's stories and get to know them. And you just start asking people questions. People will think you are the most amazing conversationalist, and you've said 5 words because all you've done is ask questions and given them a platform to share.
Yes, I think that's really, really great tip. People who are having more fun are the ones that are doing the talking, not the asking. So it's such an easy way to take attention off of yourself. If you're feeling anxious, is just ask a question, and people are more than happy to talk. And you're right, probably nobody else has asked them a question. So great tip
Yes.
there. Now, Brooke, you mentioned that one of the things that really makes you different from the rest of your competition is that old versus new school. So, when it comes to the way you teach, what has changed with the buyer mentality from old school, like all those books that you read, and you're probably like, okay, that doesn't really apply anymore because everyone starts online now. Nobody's coming to your model home. Like, some
Yeah.
of those old ways that we teach people are just obsolete. So, what would you say are the biggest difference now between the old school teaching to how you teach the sales process?
I think the biggest difference is old school ways. We used to tee up the conversation in a way that it was very transactional, whereas I believe people are craving relationship and connection more than ever. So I'm heavy on the relationship piece. A perfect example in, gosh, a book from forever ago. I don't want to call anyone out. I actually love all the trainers in the industry. But one question that is still taught on today is, what are you looking to accomplish today? As one of the first questions that the sales professional asks. And buyers are prepared for that question. And so they're going to say, oh, I just wanted to get pricing, or oh, I just kind of wanted to pop in and look around. And now you've given them the reins of the experience and you've also created a very transactional environment. And so I am big on when someone comes in, let's have a human to human conversation first. I want to break this what they're expecting to walk into, right? Because people expect to walk into a model home and ask, so what are you looking to accomplish today? Okay, how much time do you have? And I think that now people just want to talk to a human in a world where everyone is not their authentic self. That's why I think that when you meet someone who is so authentic, and Anya, that's one thing that drew me to you when I heard you speak because you showed up on stage and you were dressed so colorful. I thought, oh, I like this woman. I don't even know who she is. And I really like her because I could sense your authenticity. And that's what people want. They want to talk to a human. They want to talk to a real person. They don't want to talk to a scripted robot.
Yeah, I love that. And so, Brooke, when you go out to builders, what are you teaching? So obviously there's new hires, there's existing salespeople. Like, what's your specialty? What kind of different programs do you offer?
I think the biggest thing I do that's a little different is I teach salespeople about themselves. One thing I do keynotes on that I'm more known for is helping people understand human behavior. It's where my psychology degree comes in. How could I ever understand a customer if I do not even understand myself? And so it always starts there as a sales professional. what are the beliefs that you have? Because there are beliefs that are serving you and there are some that are really hurting you. But another thing I create an awareness around is where your mind goes. No one ever teaches us if we don't take control of our mind, where does it go? And it goes three places. So the first thing, if you don't take control of your mind, it's going to go to what you're scared of. So it's going to go to what you fear. So when a customer walks in, if I'm scared of getting rejected, I am just going to let them walk through the model. I'm not going to go with them. Or if my leader rolls out a new process, I'm immediately going to start going to all the ways it's not going to work, or all the ways it could potentially hurt me, or all the ways, like, it will go to what you fear. The second place it's going to go is, and this is interesting, but this is such a problem today for sales professionals, is your mind is going to go to what brings you instant pleasure. When we are uncomfortable, if I'm not in control of this thing here, my mind, I'm going to grab for what's pleasurable. So I'm going to grab my phone and I'm going to
Mhm.
start scrolling because I want that instant dopamine hit. I'm going to reach for a snack because food brings me pleasure. So, you hear so many people are like, oh my gosh, since I've been working in this model, because we're just eating all day, because anytime we start to get stressed, it's either going to go to what we fear or it's going to go to what's going to bring us instant pleasure because we don't like feeling that. Whereas if you really step into that discomfort, that's when magic happens because everyone else is reaching for what's pleasurable and they're not doing what they need to do because they're scared. And if you can decide, I'm going to be someone who is awake, who is working through with intention, you can literally do anything. People do not realize how powerful they are. You want to be the number one salesperson in the country? You can be that. It is not hard. You just have to wake up and not get sucked into doom scrolling, not delay what you need to do through seeking out those pleasures or spending all day worried about what could go wrong and what's scary. And then the third place it will go is other people's demands. And so this could be your spouse, it could be your kids, it could be if someone else on the team asked you for something, you'll avoid what you need to do and just do what everyone else needs you to do because we will let ourselves down before we let down other people. And so that's why you have to know your why. You have to know what your goals are and what it is that you want to do so that you can decide not to let yourself down. It all comes down to a decision. And I think that's another thing that I really do because I actually get to know the salespeople I work with. I had a trainer for 4 years when I worked for the builder and he never knew my name. I saw him at an event after he was my trainer for 4 years and I went up to him. I said, oh my gosh, it's so great to see you. And he had no idea who I was. And I know how that made me feel. And so every salesperson I work with, I know their first name, I know their last name, I'm connected with them on social media. Every single one of them have my cell phone number and will call me if they have a situation they want to work through, or maybe they're simply lacking in creativity because I care about the human first above all else. And so that's also something that's a little different.
I love that. Well, it's certainly easier said than done as far as the cell phone thing goes, right? So, but we're all guilty of that. But it's a great advice. Now, I have been stalking you on social media, and so if you guys don't follow Brooke on social media, you definitely have got to because you got some great content. So I saw that you and Ingrid Ricks have a partnership. So if you don't mind telling our listeners a little bit about that and what does it entail?
Yes, so Ingrid is the owner of Sales Solutions, and what she does is she does the online sales piece. Whereas if a builder doesn't have an in-house online sales consultant, she can provide that for you, which is really great. She does training, she will audit your CRM, she will help you get those online processes. And that's not my strength, and I recognize that. I am in the field with the salespeople, like that's where I want to be with the sales leaders. That's what I consider to be my gift. And so her and I just had a conversation one day, and it was actually not about anything in the industry. We were talking about how lonely it is being an entrepreneur. This is not something that I ever sought out to do. I never thought I would ever have my own business. And it's because I love being surrounded by people in the pursuit of something great. I love having people around me. I just realized that this was the only option to have my idea of success, which is being able to have control of my life, being able to say yes what I want to say yes to, being able to say no to what I want to say no to. And so her and I were just having a conversation. I was like, gosh, I'm like kind of lonely because it's just me, just me doing this all day, like coming up with all these ideas. And so she said, oh my gosh, me too. So we started having a regular Friday call together where we would just share what we were seeing, things we were needing. And then we realized wait, we have perfect harmony, you know? Like you do this thing, I do this thing. What if we could offer something to help both sides with no upsell, no nothing, truly as a gift to the people that choose to work with us. And so that's why if you are a client of Convertly, you get 30 days of my Elevate Edge virtual sales training program. And if you were a client of mine, she is going to audit your CRM for free.
That's amazing. What a great partnership, because it makes sense that you need to have same voice or same audit on both sides. You can't just have clients experience one thing through OSC and then a completely different
Yeah.
story when it comes to sales. So I love that. And obviously you guys are some of my favorite ladies. So I was like,
Oh,
oh, how
thank you.
exciting. Love to see you guys working together. So Brooke, as we wind down today's podcast, was there anything that I did not ask you today that you think is important for our listeners to understand about anything that we covered or did not cover?
Yeah, I can, as we wrap up, I can share just kind of the main three offerings that I do. One we talked about, which is the reverse role play day, where I will come in and I will meet your team in the field and I will be the salesperson. They will be my buyer. I'll meet them in their communities and I want them to be a hard buyer and I'm going to show them what to do from that initial conversation all the way to asking for the sale. The second thing I have is my Elevate Edge virtual training program. I record these live on Sunday and I send them to all the builders in that program on Sunday night so that they're available Monday morning. The trainings are real-time trainings. These are not old recordings and they're created so you could watch together in your sales meeting or so that your team can watch independently. It's just very tactical and relevant to what's going on in the present moment because they are freshly recorded. And then the third thing I offer is a custom training program. One thing that I've never loved is when a trainer will try to force that builder into the box of their program. So I only allow a few of these contracts every year, but it is where I learn your communities, I learn your processes, I am inundated a part of your company, and I create a training program that is specific to you. So every workbook that is created, it's not a workbook I'm using with any other builder, it's specific to your builder. They are dual branded. And so that is another thing I offer to really give that highest level training to my clients.
Love that. So if somebody wants to start working with you, what's the best way to reach out to you? Tell us your website. Where can they find you on social media?
Yeah, my website is elevateactually.com. I am on LinkedIn, Brooke with no E. Why don't I have an E? Everybody puts an E on it. Brooke with no E, last name Jennings. I am on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, I am on LinkedIn, and my email is brooke@elevateactually.com. So reach out to me. I'm happy to help.
Perfect. So you guys reach out to Brooke if you need some help with your training. And remember, you also get Ingrid Ricks as a bonus. So when you sign up, I love that. Well, thank you so very much for being on today's podcast. I really, really appreciate you. I think the information that you gave specifically on how salespeople can kickstart their own traffic and become that mayor of their community is so valuable. It's an easy thing to do. I mean, listen, again, you don't have to be on camera if you don't want to. You can still be the master of social media without ever showing your face. Thanks for being here, and I will see you. I'm guessing you'll be at IBS
Yes, I'll see you in a couple
at
weeks.
the International Builder Show. So see you then. Thanks for being on.
Bye.
Bye.